Welcome to Chiropad TV. This is Dr. Paul Bindell, President of Life Systems Software. It is with great pleasure that we provide you with this segment of our video training series for the ChiroSuite programs. This video presentation is going to focus on how to produce the monthly patient billing statements. On the front desk screen, click on Tools and select Patient Statements. When the patient statement screen opens, you are on the Billing Cycle tab. It will show you when the last billing cycle was, when it started, when it ended, and what is the due date for that billing cycle. Also, it will ask you to enter a specific amount when closing the current cycle. What should the patient's maximum payment be? This was a programmer's idea. And to make sure that you can get the maximum payment from the patient, it is our recommendation that you set this number to $99,999. In your office, if you do collect interest or late charges, or charge late fees for those patients that pay late, put a check in the box next to Create Interest and Late Charges. You would then click on the button that says Close Cycle Now. After you have clicked on Close Cycle, it will automatically bring you to the Registry tab. And in the Registry tab, it will then open up to Smart Select. There are certain things that you should choose to make your billing a little bit more accurate. First, double-click on the Financial. Select Patient Balance by double-clicking on it, and it appears in the column on the right. In the When column, drop into that white space that's just below the word When, and when you click on it, it gives you a drop-down arrow. Click on the drop-down arrow, and then select Greater or Equal to. In the left side Value column, you will enter the dollar amount that you have decided is the cutoff point at which you do not want to send statements. For some offices, it is only $1. For others, it's $25. Most are someplace in between. So you just click into that space and type in the number. This means that you're going to produce patient billing statements that have a balance that is greater than or equal to $10. In the Sort tab, you can then choose whatever is going to make your life easier. In some offices, it is once again to sort by patient balance. In others, it's to double-click on Personal and sort by last name. Others prefer to sort by head of household. Some prefer to help the mailman by sorting by zip code. Whichever method you prefer is right. When you click on OK, you will see the billing list appear before you. You will note that some of the columns have gray headings, some of them have black headings. The columns that have black headings are things that you can edit. So if you wanted to change somebody's minimum due, you would simply highlight it and change it to whatever is the dollar amount that you want to enter. That dollar amount could be equal to their total balance, their patient balance, or some other number that you choose. It tells you how much is past due, how many days late it is. Also, in the statement column, you get to select, do you want to send a statement to this person always, even if they have a zero balance or a credit balance, never, which means that they would never get one, or only when they have a balance due. Down at the bottom, there is a scroll bar. And if you scroll to the right, you will see that the patient has an agreement with your office to pay the full amount. Also, if you wanted to change that agreement for whatever reason, you could simply just click into that space, change the number to whatever you want it to be, and then in the type column identify whether or not you want that number to be identified as percentage or a dollar amount. If you're going to send out late notices, what type of late notice do you want to send to the patient? If you collect penalties or interest for late payment, then this column will show you what it is that you have arranged, and if you decide to change that, you can go line by line and change it. Once again, you can change it to being either a specific percentage or a dollar amount. As you continue scrolling to the right, you will see the patient's account type, account number, and their home and work phones. Once you are satisfied that everything on the list is the way that it should be, click on the tab that says Printing. On the left-hand side, you would make sure that the dot is here for the statement of account. This is for the regular monthly billing statement. If there is some type of message that you want to get to all of your patients, make sure there is a check in the box next to Statement Greeting, and then click on the little square that is next to the word Greeting. This will open up the SmartPad template editor and give you access to the message that you can put on your statements. This particular message will print on every single statement that you send out. It is not unique to the patient only. You will be able to personalize it so that it can have the patient's name. You can highlight, delete, and type in whatever you want. The message could be practice building, or as this one, it could be for political activity, or it could be just a holiday greeting. Literally anything that you want. When you're finished making the entry, be sure that you click on the Save icon, and when you close this screen, it takes you back to the printing screen. Once you have completed everything, make sure that you have the proper form in your printer, and then click on the Print button. It will then produce all of your billing statements. In regard to the late notices, it is now 2 weeks after you have mailed out the monthly statements, and you are going to produce late notices. So you put a check or the dot in the box next to past due reminder notices. Make sure the proper forms are in the printer. You would then go back for a moment to the Registry tab, click on Rebuild List, and now you would be able to double-click on Financial again, and this time you would click on Past Due Amount, When, and this could be greater or equal to, and in the value column, type in whatever amount you feel is the starting point. If somebody has a past due amount of $1, the likelihood is that they have a much greater amount that is actually due. So for the late notices, you may want to put in a 1 or a 5 or a 10 or whatever number is good for you. You may or may not want to print by sorting in a specific sequence. And if you choose, you can choose any of the criteria you want in order to sort. When you click OK, the new list is produced, and it will then produce everybody who's got a past due amount. It is not going to produce those that have a zero balance or are current. Then you would come back to printing, and make sure that it still says that it is going to print the past due reminder notices. Have the paper in the printer and click print. In order to see what each of the collection notices will say, click on the tab that says Collection Plans. Then under Plan Type, click on the drop-down arrow and select Normal. What appears on this screen is a chart of all the notices that are in the system. For those patients that owe you less than $50, the notices are a little bit more polite than the ones that owe you greater than $50. The columns over here that say days past due begin counting on the day after the due date that you have put on the statements. So for example, typically if you send out statements today, you put a due date of 10 days from today. So the number of days past due is 1 on the 11th day after you have done your billing. And then it proceeds through the list. For each notice, to see what it says, click on the little square with the ellipsis, the 3 dots, and that will open up SmartPad Template Editor again and show you what the statement is. You can then click into it. You can do whatever you want to edit it, to change what it says, and you would be able to use various insertion fields, and those insertion fields are rather extensive so that you can plug in whatever bit of information you would like to have appear on this particular statement. When you're finished with your changes and editing, be sure you save them, and then when you exit this, it brings you back to the collection plan screen. You should go through each of these statements one at a time. Make sure that you are in agreement with what it actually says. There are 10 statements for each level of collections, meaning that there are a total of 30 statements between the normal, gentle, and persistent categories. Once you're finished editing and printing the statements, whether they are monthly statements or past due reminders, you have completed the billing, and all you need to do is stuff envelopes and mail.
Thank you for watching this training video. Should you have additional questions that were not answered here, please contact support@chiropad.com or call us at 973-625-3716. We will do everything we can to make sure that you get the maximum benefit from using the ChiroSuite programs.